In a massive push to military intel capabilities, India is all set to finalize its long-pending plan to acquire top-notch armed Predator drones from the United States. India and US are likely to announce a $1.8 billion deal for 18 Predator B armed drones. The armed Predator is equipped with air-to-ground missiles and smart bombs for long-range precision strikes. The deal is for 18 drones, 6 each for the Indian Army, Indian Air Force and Navy. Sources also suggest that Rajnath Singh-led Defence Acquisition Council will take up the acquisition project for approval under the government-to-government deal with the US. India has long expressed interest in buying large armed drones from the United States, but bureaucratic stumbling blocks have hampered the deal worth billions of dollars for years. Now, the deals will cement the US's position as India's second largest supplier of defense hardware after Russia. So that is, of course, the deal that is likely to be struck. Remember that Prime Minister Modi is slated to travel to the United States between the 21st to the 24th of June. A big drone deal which is likely to be struck. It's expected to be a $1.8 billion deal that India is likely to strike with the United States. Is a major push, in fact, for military intel capabilities. It will be finalizing this long pending plan to acquire top-notch armed Predator drones from the US. India and US are likely to announce this $1.8 billion deal for 18 Predator B armed drones. The armed Predator is equipped with air-to-ground missiles and smart bombs for long-range precision strikes. The deal is for 18 drones, 6 each for the Indian Army, Indian Air Force and Navy. My colleague Gaurav Sawant is joining me over the phone line right now. Gaurav, how significant is this deal as far as enhancing military intel capabilities is concerned?
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to the United States of America extremely crucial, especially from the point of view of strategic cooperation and military hardware purchase. So if we were to talk about the G414 engines, extremely crucial. Should this initiative on critical and emerging technologies initiative be taken to its logical conclusion? Point one. Point two, when it comes to the Guardians and the Predators, this has been in the works for quite some time. However, the pricing was a critical issue. We are told that the conversation between National Security Advisor Ajit Doval and the US National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, they've been able to take this to the next level. And again, as far as keeping an eye on the adversary in the Indian Ocean region is concerned, or in the high Himalayas, and to be able to engage the enemy, ensuring the lives of your pilots, are safe. The drones will be an absolute game changer, according to military analysts and soldiers on ground.
Gaurav, stay on with us. Shiv Arur is also joining us over the phone line right now. Shiv, again, just give our viewers a sense of how useful these drones are going to be.
Follow me, these are the drones that India is going to be signing a deal for very soon are the Predator B armed drones. These are called Sea Guardians. Now, one aspect of it, as Gaurav correctly described, is the fact that these are very, very advanced unmanned aerial vehicles that are capable of long-range strikes, behind enemy lines, of the kind that Predator drones have been conducting in other countries as well. But remember, India's situation is a very unique one. We are surrounded, not by countries like Iraq and Afghanistan, but countries like Pakistan and China, which have armed drones of their own. But having said that, quite apart from the ability to drop bombs or strike with air-to-ground weapons, the true capability of these drones, for me, is their long endurance surveillance capability. These drones are capable of staying in the air for in excess of a day, more than 24 hours. They can stay in the air. They can be pre-programmed. They are autonomous. They are very intelligent. And they require very little human, intervention. They can be programmed to look out for certain things when they are out on long-range surveillance missions over the ocean or over land. They have highly capable sensors capable of taking high-resolution imagery at day or night. other kinds of sensors as well. So their intelligence gathering capabilities, their their high resolution cameras, their ability to keep track of what's happening in the battlefield or over any territory really at long ranges and for a long duration of time makes them extremely useful, Poulomi. The Indian Navy has been operating a couple of these on lease, Sea Guardian drones on lease since November 2020. And the Indian military is extremely impressed with the capability. Remember, India has not only long land borders with hostile neighbors, but we also have a huge amount of oceanic territory to govern and survey on a daily basis because of the threats that emanate from the sea as well. So this is a capability that the Indian military has been insisting on for a very long time, and now the deal is finally in sight.
Okay, should stay on with us. Gaurav, again, if you could explain to our viewers, how are these drones possibly the best in business?
So these drones, as Shiv was also rightly pointing out, form a part of the entire, calculus as far as the armed forces are concerned. You have your P-8Is, which are long-range maritime reconnaissance aircraft. You have these drones that keep an eye. You know how vast this Indian Ocean region is, and India's responsibility from the North Arabian Sea to the South China Sea, on either side, vast sea that you have to, in a way, control and deny to the adversary. So you have your aircraft carrier battle groups, you have your P-8I, long-range maritime reconnaissance aircraft, you have these drones. You keep an eye on the adversary and you ensure that the moment the adversary crosses those choke points, whether it's the Malacca Straits, and every Chinese warship or submarine that comes in has to cross those choke points. You dominate those choke points, and the adversary knows that. When the adversary's oil resources come in, you dominate all of that, and that is why all these resources in tandem operating together give you that security net to ensure that the better protected you are in the Indian Ocean region, the better protected are the Himalayas. And that is where the adversary would think twice before trying anything, like they did exactly 3 years ago. Today is the day when Galwan happened 3 years ago, and the adversary would think twice. The stalemate is costing China too. And perhaps we should see some forward movement on both sides at the remaining friction points. It only comes if you are a strong nation. If you're a strong nation, you can stare the bully down with all these weapons and systems. That's exactly what India intends to do.
Right. Shiv, also coming back to you, this of course will cement US's position as India's second largest supplier of defense hardware after Russia.
Absolutely. And, in the 2 decades since the US has resumed supply of military hardware to India, Poulomi, remember the US had imposed sanctions on India in the wake of the 1998 nuclear test. But after the Kargil war, it has been, a virtually non-stop supply line of weapons and equipment, from C-17 and C-130 aircraft for the Air Force, the P-8Is for the Navy, the Apache and Chinook helicopters for the Air Force as well, the M777 ultralight artillery guns for the Indian Army. It has been, a virtually uninterrupted supply of American armament, very much in keeping with how the U.S. Sees India as an ally in the region, as a countervailing force to a rising China as well. So this is going to be a huge sort of binding force as far as the India-US strategic relationship is concerned. But it's also the most complicated and significant, military system that is being supplied, Poulomi, because, unlike transport aircraft and helicopters, the Predator drones are a very, very closely guarded piece of technology. They are not supplied by the United States to any other country apart from NATO allies and very, very close nations like Israel and Japan. No other country has permission to, acquire this capability. The U.S. keeps, the actual intellectual property of these Predators a highly classified secret, and for good reason, because these are advanced systems that have been used by the CIA for drone bombings in the Afghan region, in Iraq, etc. The capability is, as Gaurav correctly described, a major game changer. This kind of thing can tilt the balance of any kind of conflict by the sheer virtue of what these Predator drones can do. Once the balloon goes up. So India acquiring this capability is also an affirmation of that relationship. The fact that beyond Quad, beyond Malabar, India is seen as not just a rising regional power, but also a global power. And I think, defense deals are sweeteners when it comes to diplomacy, and you've seen that as well, Poulomi. But the Predator, the Sea Guardian drone deal goes beyond all of that. What I'm basically trying to say in conclusion is that this isn't just another weapon system. This is basically the United States saying, we trust India with the most complex, most closely guarded military equipment, because the challenges that India faces are the challenges that the United States faces as well.
Right. Shiv and Gaurav, thank you so much for sharing your perspective on this mega defense deal that India is expected to sign with the United States. Now, ahead of the biggest Modi America visit, Mega India Today exclusive US Ambassador Eric Garcetti in fact speaks to India today. An interview on Prime Minister Modi's US tour, the mega drone deal and jet engine deals with the US and much more.